G'day there guys, it's Connie here again from Marking Industries and we are back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Alrighty folks, we're over on Am I the A-Hole? This one was written by user ValuableChannel522 and it's titled, Am I the A-Hole for being upset my husband is sharing a hotel room with another woman? My 36 female husband, 42, is currently in Las Vegas for a national bowling tournament. He's there with his mum and her friends and folks from their bowling league. He is an avid bowler, bowls on a Tuesday night league, often in state tournaments and sometimes in national tournaments. Typically I go with and sometimes bowl myself. This year we decided I would not go, but stay home with our 3 boys, ages 4, 8 and 10, due to heat and smoke in Vegas in July. My husband and I have been married for 11 years. This is his second marriage. His first marriage failed because he walked in on his wife cheating on him with another man. I have never, not once, thought that he would ever be intimate with another woman while he was with me. He's just not that type. So, onto this trip. Typically, when he goes on a trip without me, at least one a year given my job and time off requirements, he stays in a hotel room with his mum or our boys. 3 nights ago, I was on FaceTime with him while he was in his hotel room. It was really nice, and he was talking about possibly taking a nap for lack of sleep. I asked if he had his room to himself, because that would have been awesome, and he said, "Oh no, someone is sharing with me." I asked him who that was, and he said something, I don't remember, aside from she. I said, "Wait, what?" And then he went on to explain that he was supposed to share the room with his mum's boyfriend, but plans changed and now he's sharing the room with another woman on the trip. He told me that I played cornhole with her last month at a get-together. I reminded him who I had played cornhole with, him and a girl, but not one with the name he was giving me. I have no idea who this woman is, at which point he got very confused. He did not understand why I was upset or frustrated, so I dropped it because I did not want to deter from his time and his bowling. I know I should have asked how he would have felt if the roles were reversed, but I didn't, partly because I didn't want to fight, because we hardly ever fight, while the kids were up, and partly because I didn't want to hear him chalk it up to my imagination. I've hardly slept since that night, and my dreams have been chock full of worst-case scenarios, and still I've not really brought it up again. There have been a few occasions in which he has talked about taking naps and how lame he is in Vegas. I have mentioned a few times, sort of sarcastically as a side, that he would be having more fun if he was sharing a room with me, or if I was there instead of his present company, but he's brushed it all aside. So here we are. He has spent the last 3 nights in a hotel room with a woman that is not me or his mother. Am I the a-hole for being upset? Nah, I mean Opie's not at fault for feeling a little bit nervous in this situation, and it's clear the husband hasn't really been doing anything to try and quell those fears that the wife has, but there's still a good chance that he's not cheating at all and he's just a little bit of an idiot. Let's see what the comments think. He should have spoken to you first, not told you. Call him and tell him how you feel. Say you're not accusing him and it just hurt and honestly felt weird when he didn't mention sharing a room with another woman. Quote, "Hey, I have to share a room with XYZ because XYZ happened." I am married 38 years. I would sleep in the car or outside on the ground before sharing a hotel room with a woman other than my wife. Not the a-hole for being upset. I think most people would be. However, you should talk to him about it. It's not good you're keeping these feelings to yourself. Be honest about your feelings and ask him the question if he'd feel comfortable if you'd share a room with a male friend, just to make him see your point. Communication is key in any relationship, so you should be able to talk about it without issues. Okay, now for an update. Okay, so I took some advice and grew a backbone. I texted him a little while ago instead of waiting until he got home. He and our boys are leaving for another trip tomorrow morning. I could not get the time off of work, so I wanted to make sure we had the conversation fully before he left again. Before I give the update, I wanted to make a couple of things clear. I do trust my husband. He has never shown he would be the kind of person to cheat, and that is not what truly concerned me, even though I did have some pretty unpleasant dreams. My issue is that he was not upfront and honest with me. If I'd done the same thing, he would have lost his mind, understandably. This is why I started the original post with, "He's just not that type." We do generally have great communication. The issue here is that I like to have this kind of conversation face to face rather than over the phone. It's just not something I like to hash out while we're not in the same space. Obviously, in this situation, I should have made the exception and have now done so. Now for the update. I texted him today to tell him that this situation has been bothering me for the last 3 days. I had questions and we needed to have this conversation. I asked him who the woman was, how old she was, and why he didn't tell me about the situation before I found out by accident. There was a mix-up with the rooms, something about someone not going so people were shuffled. He was paired with a woman about my age. He said he didn't think it would be a big deal and didn't want to inconvenience everyone else on the trip. He also said he did not want to upset me, which is why he didn't write out tell me about it. He did tell me that I'd never had anything to worry about, and he made sure they weren't in the room alone together, aside from when they were sleeping. I know, but I really do believe him on this. I was honest with him and told him that if roles were reversed, out of respect for him, I would have called him right away to make sure he was okay with it. I told him that, while I trust him implicitly, I should not have found out the way that I did, and he should not have blown off my concern. I told him that the lack of upfront communication felt suspicious, regardless of intention or what actually happened. As for not upsetting me, I told him I would have understood and not been upset if he'd just been honest. He has apologized profusely. I told him next time to just communicate. He is adamant there will not be a next time. So call me naive if you want, but I am dropping it at this point. He'll be home this evening and I intend on having a nice evening with him before I don't see him again for another 2 weeks. Thank you for the advice. I cried it out when I found out her age, but getting this off my chest has been very relieving. Seems like an ending, right? Wrong. There's another update. I'm not handling this as well as I thought I was. I had decided to let it go. I know he wasn't doing anything with this other woman. You can disagree and call me crazy if you'd like, but I do know that. However, as much as I've tried, I can't get past the fact that he made the decision to do something he knew I wouldn't be okay with, and not tell me about it. It all feels just so messed up. I've talked to a few of my co-workers. I don't really have any friends that aren't friends of his that I talk to on a regular basis, and there's no way I'll talk to my family because that's a crap storm I can't handle right now. And they are all shocked and more angry for me than I've let myself be. Most of them know him, the kind of person he is, and what ended his first marriage. He used to work at the same company. We had less than 24 hours together before he, his mum, and all 3 of my children took their trip to the other side of the United States. I've been sitting in my feels and will continue to do so until they get back, almost another week from now. I was on the phone with them this evening before they went to bed, and one of the first things my husband said to me was, "I'm sharing a bed with a redhead tonight," and I almost came unglued before I realized he was talking about one of our boys. We have 3 sons. After a very long pause, I said, "You better be talking about so-and-so," and I was so angry I don't understand how he didn't pick up on that. Every conversation we've had has been short and to the point because I'm really just not interested in talking to him. I've been calling my oldest son and talking with my boys instead. His mum hasn't really said much to me, which makes me think he has said something to her, which is fine, of course. I don't really care about that. Bottom line is, I don't know what to do. It's midnight at home. I tried to go to bed 2 hours ago and I could just not stop sobbing, so I got up and let it go. It felt good to get it out, but I know I need to talk to someone. I have support lines through work I can call, but won't tonight. Far too many drinks, and I don't want to bring that into it as well, but I will call tomorrow. I know I should be upset and angry and not let it go, but I'm afraid when I do talk to a professional, they'll say I'm blowing it out of proportion. I will still call, but I need to get my head straight first. He's bicycling for 7 days, over 400 miles, so as much as I want to tear him a new one right now, especially after his completely insensitive and clueless joke this evening, I have not, because I want him home safe and sound. Regardless of my feelings in this moment, the most important thing is that my children's dad comes home safe so we can hash this out, at least in the same city, and not while he's 1,000 miles away, with his mum and my children. Moving on to another update. I'm sorry it's been a bit since I've updated. Things have been a lot. I'm also sorry this post is very long. My family came home a day early, so I took 2 extra days off of work to see them and figure things out with my husband. After we had unloaded and put everything away, we had dinner and watched a show. After putting the boys to bed, my husband and I went to our room. It was pretty clear he thought he was going to get lucky because he was very confused when I turned the light on. I told him that I had questions and I needed him to answer them. He was hesitant but agreed. I asked him who this woman is, how old, and is she married. I still don't know who she is, but he did confirm she is younger than me and not married. I then asked who made the decision he would be sharing a room with her. He said that his mum said it would be really great if they shared, so she could spend the 3 nights with her boyfriend/not boyfriend. I asked him why he didn't tell me about it. He said he was just so tired and had had such a long day he didn't think about it, conflicting with his earlier, "I didn't want to upset you." He said that he didn't think I would ever question his intentions, so why would he think he would have to tell me? I told him it wasn't about questioning his intentions or fidelity. It's that what they did was completely inappropriate and disrespectful to me and our marriage, and at the absolute very least, he should have sent me a quick text explaining the situation. I also told him that his mum is not always right. He apologized profusely, said he shouldn't have put his mum before me. He didn't think it would be a thing because he would never try to hurt me, and he thought I knew that. All the things. And we honestly talked it out and worked through things for a solid few hours. We came to a really good place and connected for the first time in a long while. Then he went to work the next day, which hurt because I didn't really have time to be calling in. I'm severely behind at work, but I did anyway because I wanted to do the right thing for us and to take care of us. But because he just spent 2 weeks going all over the country doing something super fun, and now he's super behind in his job, he couldn't afford to take any more time off. So that really hurt. But I let it go because he really was behind, and I at least had the boys that I got to catch up with. That day, my mum called to see what we were doing for my birthday, which was 2 days away. I had honestly forgotten about it with everything, so I told her I didn't know and asked if my husband had called her. She said he had not, so I told her I would let her know when we came up with a plan. That night, I asked him if he had a plan, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, what do you want to do?" And that really hurt, but I let it go because we have so much going on. I told him it would be great if we had a barbecue and he invited people and got the groceries, and he agreed. I specifically asked if he would call my mum. He did get some of the groceries, but not all of them, and he did surprise me with a cake, but that was it. I ended up inviting everyone last minute, having to apologize along the way, and had to go to the store twice to get the rest of the things we needed. At the party, he started showing our friends the pictures from his trip, pictures I haven't even seen yet. I was so mad, upset, frustrated. He didn't catch on. So then it came time for gifts. His was a card game and a back rub. I felt like I was just slapped in the face. To be clear, I don't place a high value on gifts. If you get me something, great. If you don't, that's fine. But he didn't get me anything for Mother's Day, but I got him a whole slew of things for Father's Day for his trip and an Xbox game he wanted. I also planned each of those days by myself, and he just went to the other side of the country, and all he thought to grab for me was a card game. I didn't want to fight in front of our friends, so I let it be. I didn't really expect more than that anyway, but it still hurt. Then I went back to work, and things were meh. Anything he did irritated me. Anything his mum did irritated me. And I was getting so frustrated and sad and angry, and just not myself. Then I had a medical issue, something that pokes its little head back up every 5 years like clockwork, but I had been ignoring because of everything going on, come back, and I went to our urgent care to take care of it. But I had to take care of all sorts of things first, so that me going to the doctor didn't hamper my husband's day, so I was really irritated in the morning. It didn't help that his mum came over, and I just can't handle her right now. It also didn't help that he told me that morning about all the plans he had come up with for our son's birthday in a few weeks. I was mad at myself for being upset. I should be stoked my husband is thinking about our son and wanting to give him a great birthday party, but I was so deflated and sad and angry in that moment. but he had to go to work, so I left it alone. So before I went, I sent him a text apologizing for being irritated. I told him that I'm not in a good place mentally or physically, and I'm really struggling. He asked how he could help, and I responded that I didn't really know. And then I saw the doctor, and he referred me to surgery. This will be the third time I've had surgery for this. I was so frustrated and sad and hurt, I decided to just put it all out there. And since he can't seem to find the time to actually talk to me, I texted him a novel, laying out everything that is on my mind. The trip, my birthday, him not taking time, my son's birthday, all of it. After an hour he had not responded, so I sent him another text saying that maybe he could just tell me I'm not crazy and we'll get through this together, or something like that at least. He responded to that saying that he loves me and has lots to say, but can't say it over the phone. So then I went to work and did the things. I felt a little better he didn't discredit all of my frustrations, so things were okay. That night he called to tell me he loved me and he was going to take the next day off to spend with me. It was also my day off. I was pretty darn stoked. The next day I asked him what were the things he wanted to say, and he said he didn't want to say it in front of the kids. So then that night I asked him again, and he said that we'd been having such a great day, he didn't want to ruin it and me get all emotional, so he wasn't going to say it then. I felt like I'd just been punched in the gut. So wait, you've been so nice since I texted you, but now I'm going to be sad and upset? What is going on? It is now the next day and I just asked him again. He completely blew me off and went to town to pick up our son from camp. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I can only ask him to talk to me so many times. He doesn't share his thoughts or emotions often, but I would think he would do it now, right? I don't know what to do. Geez, this guy's really screwing with OP's head, isn't he? Let's go to some comments. Holy crap, you're not even an afterthought to this guy. You don't have any importance in his life. You're just there. He'll just tell you stuff to get you off his case and then just keep ignoring you. Opie replies, that is definitely how I feel. And Opie responds to multiple comments on seeking for a professional counsellor to help navigate the next steps and find a thing to do that helps Opie feel happy. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for your kind and understanding reply. I've made a few calls with no responses yet, and quite a few say they're not taking new clients. Keeping my fingers crossed though. I do agree, I need an outside perspective other than Reddit. And thank you. I've used our system, but I still have to call. They help to narrow it down, but I have to make an appointment. I get 6 free sessions, which is great. I just need someone to call me back. Thank you for the advice. I will try. I did get in 2 chapters of the book I'm reading this week, and have taken extra time with my boys. I needed that. Another comment says, I think that woman on the trip was more important than he's letting on. His mother would not be welcome in my house again until she apologizes to my face. No more trips alone for any reason for a very long time. He needs to have consequences and you're letting him coast. He's trying to wait you out. Update me. I don't know why you keep just letting things go and deluding yourself that you're in a good place. Your husband was in a hotel room with a younger woman for days. He gaslit you that it's no big deal and acting like you're the crazy one for thinking it's a problem. In what world are things okay after that? How much of a doormat has he made you that one conversation blows that over? Your mother-in-law set him up to cheat on you. In no world is him sharing a room with a younger single woman appropriate. He knows that. She knows that. If you think he's a good boy, I don't know what kind of blinders you have on or Kool-Aid you're drinking, but stop. He blew off your birthday. He couldn't even muster going to the grocery store, let alone sending some texts. He was away from you for 2 weeks and couldn't even bring you some postcards from along the way. My son was on a school trip for 4 days. He brought me all kinds of little things because he was in a gas station and saw this pretty postcard I would like, or at this gift shop and thought that keychain was something I would like. So your husband is less considerate than a teenager on a school trip with all his teenage buddies. He gives you bullcrap after bullcrap and just pretends things are fine. You lay it all out there via text, and again he blows you off, gives you some love bombing in the form of family time, and expects to sweep it under the rug. He's hoping to wait you out before you find out what he actually did in that hotel room, or how many times he's met that woman before, or just to make sure he can feed you bullcrap after betraying your marriage with his mum's help, and you'll just ignore it. At some point, you have to acknowledge you have a crappy husband and a very unhealthy marriage. How many ways does he have to show you you're not a priority? He doesn't respect you, and he could not care less about your feelings before you believe him. Yeah, some harsh truths there, that's for sure. On to the next update. I apologise for the late update. My health took a pretty drastic turn for the worse for a minute, but no worries, all is good now. And I had a really good talk with my doctor about putting myself first, and she's getting me in touch with a counsellor. Now for the update. It's barely an update, and for that, I'm sorry. When I finally did get him to tell me what he wanted to say, he ended up saying it in front of the boys anyway, he only brought up 2 things I'd talked about in the novel I'd sent him. The first was that I was going to look for a counsellor. He said he loved that idea and that it really helped him when he was talking to one. Then he brought up that I'd mentioned how much weight I've gained since the birth of our last child. He said that he still finds me crazy attractive, as should be evident by the fact that he still shows up in bed. Then he started talking about what I shouldn't be doing if I wanted to lose weight, and apologising for the fact that he and the boys have ridiculous metabolisms and don't have to worry about it. I asked him to stop trying to give me weight loss advice. That wasn't the point of me telling him. I asked if there was anything else he wanted to say, and he said no, just those 2 things. So at this point, this is where I'm at. My husband did not cheat on me. I do know this is true. I'm still not in a good place because of so many things happening at once, so I'm seeking help. Thanks for the advice and support from most of you, but this is my last post on this. I won't be able to actually work on my marriage reading some of these responses. Geez, Opie really is putting the blinders up on this one, that's for sure. One comment says, Well, it's your life, not anyone else's. His idea of treating you with love and respect and honour and make up for his many missteps is to try and make you less fat. But don't worry, he still wants to bang you as is. I really hope for the best for you. Like most following your story, I think he treats you like crap and beyond taking you for granted. He won't change because he feels he isn't behaving wrong. You deserve a better, happier life. I'm so sorry. Quote, should be evident by the fact that he still shows up in bed is a wild statement to me. Okay folks, now for a new update, posted only a few days ago. Okay, some of you have probably read my earlier posts. I have deleted them as a knee-jerk reaction to something that happened this morning. Long story short, my husband shared a room with another woman in Vegas last month and did not communicate properly, or at all until I pretty much found out on accident. We've hashed it out for the most part at this point. We've also come to a good place concerning other things in my earlier posts. I heard those of you calling me stupid and a doormat. I also heard those of you lending support, kindness and advice. Thank you for both, by the way. So, I called him out, really talked to him about how I was feeling, and we're good. Obviously, I have a lot of work to do on my own, and will include him in that growth when needed. This morning he got a message request on Facebook from a throwaway fake account, something along the lines of, I heard you had a good time in Vegas, do you know what your wife thinks? He showed this to me willingly, and as a question like, do you possibly know who this is or why they would send this? Very innocent and open, as we have discussed in the last few weeks. At first, I thought this message came from someone on Reddit, so I deleted my posts. Of course, I've found my posts on several other websites, so I'm sure it'll get back to him eventually. I wasn't sure how, but I thought maybe someone tracked him down. I'll be honest, that idea did not make me feel very safe. However, one of the things mentioned in the Facebook message is not something I shared here, which got me thinking and racking my brain. There are 2 people I have told all of the details to, and neither one of them would ever send him a message like this. They are friends with both of us, and have helped me see all sides in this situation. They would have given him crap, not called him out like this. Then I thought, well crap, maybe it's a friend or boyfriend of this woman. I know her name, I just can't place her face, so I don't know who she is. And maybe he or they just found out, and maybe this person has information that I don't have. So, I've messaged several accounts with that name and picture with the same message. Quote, did you message my husband? And, I don't want to start a fight with you if you did, I just need some answers if you have them. Hoping to get a response from the account that actually messaged my husband. He's at work. When he gets home, I'll check his phone for any info again, and link his messages on the computer so I can see. I'm not going to be a doormat, but I also have a hard time believing my husband would cheat on me. Well, I guess right now in this moment I don't, but I digress. If he did cheat, he has been pretty darn open with communication in the last couple of weeks, and showing me this message makes it extra hard to believe, but I still have this pit in my stomach, and I need to find some answers so I can move past this. Either way, I'll not be posting this until after I go through his phone and link his messages. Opie adds later, I could not find anything on his phone. I also could not get the Messenger app to link properly to the computer, so I'm still in the blind hoping for a reason from someone. And again, I just told him my theory that it's the other woman's friend or boyfriend trying to start trouble. He says he doesn't think so, says he's sure it came from our conversations via text and phone, like a phishing scam. I have no words. If he actually thinks this is what happened, he's lost his mind. If he's trying to pass this off so I don't question him anymore, well, now I'm ticked. I'll be talking to his mum tomorrow. Wow, okay folks, and that's the last update we've got so far. I'll keep an eye out for any future ones, but yeah, what a weird story. Like, I'm not entirely sure whether or not he's cheating on her or not, but I think it's pretty clear that their communication is absolute garbage. Let's read some final comments. Oh, now she's ticked, not the 1,000 times before where she's treated like crap. Cheers to the Facebook Messenger. Maybe she finally wakes up. This woman is so frustrating. I pray every time there's a new update that she's found some self-respect, but no. Had a glimmer of hope here, but her next step is talking to his mum, so sounds like she's going to keep letting this man disrespect her. Update, my husband shared a bed with a woman again. He said that he was asleep and somehow in the night she ended up on top of him and they had sex whilst asleep. He said he was dreaming about me, so it isn't really cheating. That was a comment, by the way, not a real update. Opie is excusing every single red flag. She is gaslighting herself. Yeah, what more needs to be said? What are your theories? Do you think the husband's cheating on her? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to another story for now. Okay, we're going over to Am I Wrong? This one was written by user Purple Sunshine, and it's titled, Am I wrong for refusing to meet my biological mum in person after I signed up for a DNA testing site? I'm 24 male who was adopted when I was 6 years old. I've always felt incredibly lucky because my adoptive parents, who were in their late 20s when they took me in, have been nothing short of amazing. They've loved and supported me as if I were their own flesh and blood, and I've never felt like anything was missing in my life because of being adopted. Growing up, I had very minimal details about my adoption. I know that I was removed from my biological family by social services due to neglect and abuse, but I don't remember anything about my life before I was adopted. It's not something I've dwelled on much because I've never felt like I needed those missing pieces to feel complete or valued. Recently, out of simple curiosity, I decided to sign up for one of those at-home DNA testing kits. I wasn't looking for a reunion or any deep connection. I just wanted to know more about my genetic history, like why I was removed from my biological family and if there were any medical issues I should be aware of. Honestly, I didn't expect to find anyone closely related to me, so it felt like a low-stakes way to get some answers. About 8 weeks after sending off the kit, I finally remembered to check the results, and to my surprise, I matched with my biological mother, BM. She had sent me a message saying she was overjoyed that I'd done the test, and that she desperately wanted to reconnect with me and the rest of my biological family. She mentioned that she's thought of me every day, that I was always loved, and even that I have a biological little brother who was very excited to meet me, something I didn't even know. Her message was really emotional and, to be honest, overwhelming. To me, she's a complete stranger, and reading those words didn't stir anything in me other than discomfort. I spent a lot of time crafting a thoughtful response to BM, explaining that while I appreciated her message, I wasn't interested in forming a relationship with her or any of my biological family. I made it clear that my reason for doing the DNA test was purely informational. I wanted to understand my past, maybe get some medical history, and learn why I was removed, but that was it. I apologized if my actions gave her the wrong impression. Biological mum read my message and replied, saying that she'd be willing to give me all the information I wanted, but only if I agreed to meet her at a cafe to discuss our relationship further. I refused, telling her that I wasn't comfortable with a face-to-face meeting. I offered a phone call as a compromise, but emphasized that I just wanted the information and then for both of us to move on with our lives. She outright refused to provide any information unless I agreed to meet with her in person and discuss our relationship. I talked to my best friend about this and she sided with BM, saying that I was being unfair. She argued that by signing up for the DNA site, I had essentially opened the door to this kind of situation, and that refusing to meet with BM now is like playing mind games and leading them on. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my biological mum after I signed up for the DNA testing site? No, I think it's safe to say that it's OP's call whether or not he reconnects. I mean, come on, like he's not the one that let his kid get away from him like this mum did at 6 years old. Let's read some comments. Not the a-hole. She's holding your info hostage to get you to meet with her, which is her being the a-hole. You were removed for a reason, and she probably wants to fill you in with her version. Since you know her name, can you contact the agency that removed you to request the information? OP says, I could have always gone through the route of getting in touch with social services and seeing what they can tell me, though I'm not sure how much they can share because of data protection, so I just thought it would be easier this way. Also, it would have been nice to hear it from my family's perspective, if you get what I mean. As a fellow adoptee, I vote not the a-hole without question. You don't owe her anything. I'd argue she owes you information though. Something she did caused the adoption to happen, and she's awful for holding that information hostage. Your friend is completely in the wrong, and if they aren't adopted, I'm not surprised about their opinion. A lot of non-adopted people have really weird opinions on how adoptees should feel and act. Classical one being that we should all feel grateful for our adoptive parents because they saved us. OP replies, no, they're not adopted, which may explain their perspective. They did annoy me though, calling me unfair for not having a relationship with them, despite the fact it's not something I've ever wanted. It was unfortunate that BM saw I was on there and messaged me first, and I feel bad that it may have given her false hope. I wish I could have been the first to message to get it out there right away what I was expecting. Not the a-hole, fellow adoptee here. I did meet my birth mother when I was 16, and I've spent the following 16 years regretting it. Mine is selfish and manipulative and pulled this same trick. I'll tell you everything when I see you. Nope. Do not engage. Half of what she told me was outright lies, and she's desperately tried to wedge herself into my life at every opportunity when I've made it clear I do not want her. How does it feel to be unwanted, egg donor? Welcome to my world. I'm an adult. I have my own children now. My parents were wonderful people. I didn't have the best life ever or anything, but I was raised by people who loved me and wanted the best for me. It's hard. Your biological mum has expectations, and you have different ones. The thing is, she's being unrealistic and unreasonable by holding the info you want hostage. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's not right of her, and it's not fair to you. OP replies, I understood that what she would have told me wouldn't have likely been the objective truth, but I was interested in hearing it from her anyway. In some ways, I suppose I was a little curious about her and her life, but I didn't want a relationship with her at this point in my life. But that wouldn't have been me saying never, and she didn't tell me how old her other son is, but depending, I would have possibly been willing to meet him at least. The fact that she tried to force my hand has really left a sour taste in my mouth, and has made the whole thing icky. I think I've decided I'm going to write her a final message about how I didn't appreciate being told I would only be allowed that information if I met up with her and discussed a relationship with her. I think I'll say it comes across as manipulative, and that is what put the final nail in the coffin that I certainly don't want anything to do with her. But does that seem too much? I'm not going overboard by saying that to her, am I? Not the a-hole. I honestly find it a bit concerning she's using blackmail to get her way, completely ignoring how you feel. You're not comfortable meeting her, and that is your right, and it's okay. You decided, despite not wanting to give her a phone call instead, and she still refused. As I said, I am concerned. She doesn't have your best interests at heart, only what she wants. I get she wants to meet you, but the only thing she's doing is driving you away with her demands and blackmail. I'm so sorry." And Opie replies, "It does seem that way to me. I feel better knowing that I wasn't being blind, though certainly was being naive to think that she would just give me all the information I was looking for. The fact that she's giving me demands makes me more certain that I don't want to meet her. And the extra thing is, I may have been open to a potential IRL meeting at some point in the future if she didn't try to force me, but now she has, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confused at the minute. Depending on the age of the son, I may be willing to have some contact with him, but again, it definitely wouldn't be an IRL thing right away." Now for an update. Hey everyone, it's been about 9 days since I last posted, and I thought it was time for an update. I really want to thank everyone who took the time to comment and offer advice. I've read through everything and it's been both helpful and eye-opening. So, after all the advice and some serious thinking, I decided to talk to my biological mum again, hoping that maybe if I explained myself better, she'd understand where I was coming from. Unfortunately, things went downhill fast. Instead of trying to meet me halfway, she just got more manipulative, insisting that I was being selfish for not wanting to meet her in person. She refused to give me any information unless I agreed to her terms, which was a hard no from me. I've come to realize that I was pretty naive to think that my biological family might be decent people after everything. I mean, I was removed from their care for a reason, but I guess a part of me wanted to believe that people can change. Looking back, I feel kind of dumb for even starting this whole journey. It's brought up a lot of emotions that I wasn't really prepared to deal with, and to be honest, I'm feeling pretty down about the whole situation. And as for my best friend, well, that's another disappointment. She didn't just side with my biological mum initially. She's been unsupportive throughout this whole mess. Even after I told her about the latest conversation, she couldn't really understand why I was so upset. She kept saying that I should just give them a chance and not be so harsh. It's like she doesn't get how hard this is for me, and I'm starting to feel like she never really did. It's tough because I've always considered her one of my closest friends, but right now, I'm not sure she's someone I can rely on. After all of this, I decided to sit down with my adoptive parents and talk everything over with them. I hadn't really opened up to them about how deep this was affecting me, but they were amazing, as always. They were upset when they heard how my biological mum was acting, and they reassured me that none of this is my fault. They reminded me that there's a reason I was removed from that situation, and it's not on me to fix it or make things right with people who've clearly not changed. Talking with them has made me realize just how lucky I am to have them. They've been there for me every step of the way, and they made it clear that whatever happens, they're my real family, the ones who've loved and supported me no matter what. It's hard not to feel down after everything that's happened, but having them in my corner makes it a bit easier to cope. Honestly, I regret even starting this whole DNA journey. It's brought up more pain than I expected, and I can't help but wish I'd just left the past where it belongs. But at the same time, I'm grateful that it's reminded me of how blessed I am to have my adoptive parents. They're the ones who've always been there for me, and I couldn't ask for a better family. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to focus on the people who truly care about me and let go of the rest. It's not easy, but I know I'm on the right path. Thanks again to everyone who reached out. It's really helped me feel less alone in all of this. Take care, everyone. And one more tidbit from OP. Hey everyone, I've been thinking a lot about my family today, especially after everything that's been going on lately. It got me reminiscing about some of the best moments I've had with them, and there's one memory that stands out, something from when I was a kid that I'll never forget. I must have been about 8 years old, just a couple of years after I was adopted. It was around Christmas time, and I remember feeling nervous because it was only my second Christmas with my adoptive parents. Holidays always make me feel weird, even now. Anyway, my dad's friend owned a Christmas tree farm, and that year, my mum and dad decided to take me to pick up our Christmas tree. We spent what felt like hours walking through rows and rows of trees. My parents kept asking me which one I liked best, and I remember feeling so much pressure, like I had to pick the absolute best one, or else I'd ruin Christmas. But they were so patient, letting me take my time. Finally, I pointed out a tree. Honestly, it looked like every other one to me, but my parents made a huge deal out of it. My dad knelt down to start sawing, and I remember him pretending to struggle, saying, "Oh no, I think this tree might be too strong for me. My dad made me come over and help him, saying he couldn't do it alone. So there I was, this little 8-year-old pretending to help my dad saw down this tree. Of course, I wasn't actually doing anything, but they made me feel like I was the strongest kid in the world. When the tree finally fell, my dad swept me up in his arms and spun me around, saying, "We did it." After we got home and set up the tree, my mum brought out these old boxes full of ornaments. She told me that we were going to start a new tradition. Every year, we'd each pick out a new ornament to add to the tree, something that represented something special from that year. That night, they handed me my very first ornament, a little wooden bear holding a heart with the word family carved into it. My mum said, "This one's for you because you made our family complete." I remember holding that ornament, feeling this huge wave of love and belonging that I'd never really felt before. At the time, I don't think it even hit me how impactful that was, how that moment defines the way I look at myself today. I was part of a loving family. I was their family. Every Christmas after that, we'd pull out that little wooden bear and hang it up first. It became our tradition. The reason I've been thinking about this memory today is because it's a reminder of how lucky I am to have the parents I do. They didn't just give me a home, they gave me a sense of belonging, and they gave me love. Even with everything that's been going on, I know that I've got something really special, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Anyway, thanks for letting me share this. I just needed to remind myself how amazing my family is, and I hope it brings a smile to your face like it does to mine. And it certainly did to mine as well. What a great anecdote. What about you guys? Let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.